Yeah, roll it back in. Hey, everybody, good evening. It's 9 p.m., almost 9 p.m. Do you know where your employees are? Live with Stephen Farrell of Northern Utah Jobs.
Woo!
And we'll be right back after this commercial. You know the drill. How you like that for $17.93, man?
Well spent. Nice intro.
Drop the mic, man.
I like it, Dave. I think that's your best one.
Yeah, I don't even know what country he's from.
Doesn't matter, right? As long as he gets the job done.
Bobby or something like that. But so it must have been, he must be using a fake name, but it's legal. Fever app or whatever, or whatever you call it.
Fiverr. Yeah.
You know,
it's a good app.
It's a great app. So how's everything going in the staffing world in Utah, man?
It's going great, man. You probably noticed I got a new look, shaved head. I got the red facial hair. This is not going well for me, Dave. This is what staffing does to you.
I'm trying to figure out what you look like or who you look like now. you were looking like Clark Kent when I told you, but
I know.
See,
my 4-year-old daughter suffers from anxiety, and we had to shave her head. So she keeps pulling on her hair and damaging the roots. And so we've had to shave it a couple times. And I thought maybe this time around I'd make her feel a little bit more comfortable and shave my head with her. And I did that on Christmas Eve and got it really low. So you didn't really see this that well. But man, this is growing in, and it's not jiving. I'm not getting any fans with this new look.
I grow, man. I look like a freaking goat. I keep it short, or it just turns pure white, and then you try that gray for men or something. Don't ever do that, boy.
Yeah, don't do that.
All right, the staffing world. I told you I was irritated. I'm irritated.
You did. You mentioned that.
I told you I was irritated.
You didn't mention why.
Well, what I wanted to talk about is, for example, being a salesperson and over-delivering for your team. So what I mean by that is, you're going out to those companies and
over-promising.
Yeah, and you're like, in your mind, because you're in corporate versus myself, is you had to make that sale. And there is some good salespeople, and then there's some that just want to do it just to get that sale, not realizing the reverse effect, what happens. Because, for example, I had to turn, when you turn down a 1.4 account, you're here. I've turned down 3 of them, and you say to yourself, "Oh, he's full of it." No, you can make that sale. But when they told me, I was so mad on Friday, and when they came back, I thought maybe with 25 candidates, they said a 34%. I was like, God damn it! And Steve, I'd make a negative 75 cents or something. I'd make a negative.
You can't do that.
But they said that's what all the other staffing companies.
1.4 million doesn't do you any good if you're losing 30K out of it.
No, you're losing 1.4 million, and they say, well, you must be making money. Now, when I was in corporate, well, you must be making money. Well, when you have 14 accounts and you have 4 recruiters with 14 accounts, hey, it can substantiate it because you take your highs and your lows. But I think what my problem is, I say no because I came home again, and I was trying to figure out the different models, how I could staff it, because I know I could. They only wanted like 25. I said, that's easy. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's nothing.
You might be able to get that to work if you have 25 people that you've already spent the money and have paid for them with another client. They're hire ready, drug screen background, and they have nowhere else to go except for this new client. Then you might make something, but that never happens. That's very rare.
Well, what I have to do, being, only 2 of us, is I have to think of her also, the recruiter, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like. And I'd have to do like a little conversion fee at the end, like a $250 or $500. That's all I was asking. Okay. So if they get hired on at a 34, then you can recoup after 520 hours. You can collect 500. So say if they hire 10, you can do the math. Then yes. So yes. But then I always put the scale. I draw it up on the whiteboard, positives and then negatives. And the only positive is I couldn't come up with anything positive. Besides, it was like
that's your sign right there.
Yeah, everything was negative and negative and negative, and it kept going down. But then I said, well, what if one person got injured? One. That's all it would take. Steve, what workers' comp.
Yep.
You're no different in your branch because being corporate or not, somebody gets hurt on your P&L. Oh, you're getting charged on that baby.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you got a couple of P&Ls that you're looking at, and I can imagine. I've been there, and you try to balance that. But my point is, so I had another guy offered to another company, and I just know it was set up for failure. It's set up for failure. Don't take it if you can't deliver it.
Yep.
The days of pre-COVID, I'm sorry, and this is where I go off on it, but the days of pre-COVID are gone. You have to fight for every freaking employee you want to find, and then you say a 34%. That's a slap in my freaking face because I don't care what they say. Hell no, get out of here. You want me to work for nothing? Well, how's the other companies do it? So now I got to sit here and explain to them. Well, when you got the company I just left and you got 30 branches throughout the United States, well, maybe that helps.
I think Dave, that separates the experienced good HR managers from the inexperienced, shouldn't be in the business of HR. It's all about, if the relationship that you have with that HR manager and they have with you, when they understand your business and when they understand all the work it takes to recruit high volume candidates, to make sure they're good, to make sure they're screened, to then help manage that workforce on the retention side. There's so much that goes into that the good HR partners are going to sympathize with you, and they're going to appreciate your hard work. And even though they have to show some savings on their side, when you go up for bid and renegotiate agreements, they're always going to remember how hard you work for them and how much it really takes to get those candidates out there and to keep them. And they're going to meet you in the middle, just like you'll meet them in the middle. And when you find ones that don't, it's just because the relationship isn't there, the understanding isn't there, and sometimes you have to walk away from those deals because it's just not fair to you. It's not fair to them because now they're going to get someone that's frustrated, right? That would frustrate you to be losing money, and you may not take the same time and quality with these candidates because you're making no money, and then you're looking for a door out to how do I close the door on this client because I'm losing so much money. It's just not fair to anybody. Yep. And I'm with you, Dave. It's just better to walk away if you cannot meet somewhere in the middle.
Because you've had a lot, and I've watched you on some of your videos. You seem, you're at that point too. It's like, well, why would you want to take that? Let's renegotiate, because even though where you work, you have to get jobs. But at the same time, I just kept thinking in my back of my mind was the recruiter. Now I know what I'm doing, but to put that on someone on your team, knowing in your mind what's about to happen in about 2 weeks, she wouldn't, or I don't want to say she or he, but I will. She will go crazy, and you don't want to burn them out. You don't want to sit there and because
you can't set them up for failure. Your own recruiters. Why would you do that?
No.
And why would you want them to spend even an hour a day working on an account that's not going to yield anything? And you're setting unreasonable expectations for your team. And back to your point about, this is common in our industry. It should be uncommon. You have these sellers out there and luckily I haven't had that problem with my team, but I've heard a million stories. You have too. You probably experienced it. Yeah. And they'll just whatever they can do to get the sell, even if the sell doesn't work, if it doesn't make sense for the team. In many ways, right? Not just one way.
No, and I sat there one time, Steve. I went in there with the sales rep and myself, and there was 6 people in there, and I was a new salesman, market manager, and Well, you walk in there and half of that team looks so tired. They look so freaking burned out. The HR director, oh gosh, she was a piece of work. First of all, human resources directors, I really feel for them. And I'm going to take that off a second because to me, HR and logistics and all, they work their butt off.
Yeah, they do.
They have to do all your staffing now. They worry about all your staffing between getting the contract or proposals. See, I have to correct myself until it's a contract. But I watch them and I'm like, why do we have to reach out to you? I know that's the way things are, but human resources did not go to college, I bet, and say, I want to be a recruiter.
Right. Well, and that was all before COVID. Now if you have a plant, a facility with 500 people or more, some of these other ones, 2,000 or more, all they're doing is contact tracing for COVID. They're calling 20 people a day, and then, and it's just so time consuming. They're reporting it up the corporate ladder. Like that's asking a lot of your HR team. Like you need to hire a separate team just to do contact tracing, let alone thinking of having your HR department do that. It's just, I feel so bad. It's hard.
And I do, because in my mind, I'm looking at her and she wasn't paying a damn attention to me. She just kept on that laptop, and I know what they're saying because now I'm always not a negative person, but I try to think what the other person's saying. And they've been through this. They know the drill. Oh, here we go. Promises. You're just another basic staffing company. Well, what are you going to do to us? Yeah, well, I ain't going to work. And you could just tell she wasn't interested. I did not want that account. I swear, I wanted to say to you, don't you want to look at me? In my mind.
Don't you want to walk out of meetings like that where the other partner is just not paying attention? They're on their laptop. It's just like, oh, I'm sorry. Is your time too valuable? Is this the wrong time for us to meet?
That's why I even take my phone anymore. I take it, shut it off, and put it down. Because I've had people, and I've done it myself though, Steve. I've been there, and I'm like, I'm looking at a thing, and I'm like, what am I doing? You can't give the time. How did you just say that?
Well, it goes. You remember when we had Andre Young on this program? Yeah. He mentioned. I remember when we were asking him different questions about leadership, and he's like, it shows your team that you're not interested in them when you're sitting there on your phone. Or on your laptop and trying to talk to them. Like, you can't put that down for 2 minutes to listen and to make eye contact. Like, what does that tell your team? And if you're out in a prospect meeting, like, what does that tell the prospect? What does that tell or what are they telling you when they can't even make eye contact with you and talk to you? Like, how are they going to respond to urgent requests and workman's comp issues and anything else, or work on retention initiatives when they can't even sit there and give you their attention for 2 minutes?
Yeah, well, the supervisor, he was the one really talking, and wow, it's like he looked burned out. And I had to say some things like, okay, we can do this. In my mind, 3 of the other recruiters had this company years ago, and everybody was saying, hey, Valdemar, how come I see him there? Oh, geez. Hey, this guy here, Steve, Valdemar, look at this guy here. He was one of my employees at Home Depot.
Yeah,
I've never seen a guy, Valdemar. He didn't like to work.
Maybe it was just the wrong place. He didn't like working at Home Depot.
Well, nobody did. But he would always come up with some excuse. He's a great guy. He works. He did. I'll tell you what. He had perfect attendance. He did call, he was been there for years. I know he's.
When he did come, he had good.
When he did come, look at him. He's like saying lots of laugh, but no, he's a good employee. I mean, look. I know he's laughing his ass off. Oh, look at that. Hey, Tubia. I figured you'd be coming on there. So again, back to what you said. So the Valdemar, I'm still there. Oh, I'm still there. I heard that there was still a couple more people there he left. I thought they moved out of the building.
Yeah, can I say something though about Home Depot? I don't know if it was the Washington Post or the New York Times or one of those, but they posted an article on how much the big box stores spent when it comes versus how much revenue they brought in, how much they spent on COVID to protect their employees, relief funds, PPE. Home Depot was at the bottom in revenue, like compared to Walmart and Amazon and others, but they spent more in COVID relief funds and PPE than any of the big box stores, which hat tip to them. That was really cool to see that.
And that's Mark, I agree with Mark. I could picture Home Depot really doing a great job because they were strict. That was my first experience with really inbound, outbound, how logistics move and the importance. Like Mark, you're supposed to pick like 75 cases per hour. Mark would do 25 and got away with it.
Wow.
He knew his ropes up. I won't pick on him anymore, but we have, who is this? Vasquez Richard, need work. Well, Vasquez, my suggestion to you would be change that profile.
Change that profile picture, man.
And then maybe you'll get some work, dude. I would change that. I don't even want to
keep religion and politics out of the workplace, as well as any social media picture that you're posting on anything like this, on a platform like this.
Yeah, I wouldn't even.
Everybody sees your social media. You can lock it down, but that profile picture can never be locked down. So
you want to get work,
get a nice mugshot.
Yeah, Vasquez, just change that photo and maybe we'll talk. But that's what hurts. You put a picture like that.
Trust me, I love shooting guns. I've got an AR-15, that I built out, but it won't go on my professional profile.
No. Hey, Bill's in Ohio, so he's out there close. Bill, Steve's in friggin' Utah, man. I don't even know what's in that site.
Oh, you're killing me.
I know. But back to that. Hey, Bill. Okay, back to that. So when we went back to the branch and we said, well, we think we're going to get it. Then it went above the next levels and they went out for the tours. And in my mind, I'm like, no. And thank God it didn't go through while I was there. And I heard it still, Adecco or one of those other companies swallowed it up, But there was an example I wanted to give you was I don't look at how was your week? Oh, he's talking to Bill. They're the kind of things that you really, I think starting results was the difference of, I've told you about, like, I kind of can do little things a little bit different. I don't have that red tape.
Yeah.
I don't know about coming on LinkedIn Live and being I'm not that negative. You calmed me down a little bit, but my point there is to tell the truth, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Tuvia, I'm looking to hire employee from Ohio. Oh, you're still looking. Did you talk to Bill? All right. But like you said, I mean, customer service now, and if you just want bodies, in my mind, that's what's going through. All right, I'm just going to send as many, no background check, no drug screen, everything, just send them. It didn't even, not just because of that.
Yeah, there's your workman's comp right there.
Yeah, that was a faster process. And some companies that I get irritated right now is they've said, oh, we don't require background checks now or drug screen. But I'm like, well, you did a year ago. But now maybe, I don't know, cost savings or anything like that. But to me, that doesn't make a difference, but it is a safety. And you have to look after that.
Well, for me, it's like, okay, Dave, that's great. You don't want to have drug screens, but I'll still test them because I want to make sure the quality people I'm sending out are not going to be a safety, causing safety issues for you or me.
That's what I mean.
At the end of the day, as the staffing company, you're paying the medical bills, the workman's comp. They may get the OSHA recordable, but you're still you're footing the bill for the medical bills.
But Steve, when you look at that, I see a lot of companies now, no background checks and no drug screening. Now, first goes through my mind, it's like, wow, I'm going to save money. Mm-hmm. But then I sit back and I'm like, okay, now do I want the company to staff for that? Because it is easier. And then I'm like, okay, but then I'm like, do I want workers' comp issue when somebody's high as a kite?
Right.
And there's no way that would be for forklift drivers and all that kind of manufacturing. That cannot be.
Well, I'm a big proponent of not banning the box. Like, oh, this is, here's a list of felonies you can't have or misdemeanors. Like, I want to look at it. So I want to do a background check, not because I want to disqualify somebody by checking the box. I want to go and look at your background and go, okay, tell me your story. Like, what have you done since then? And I hate calling somebody a felon. Like, I get comments on my Facebook Live, do you hire felons? And I'm like, stop calling yourself a felon. Stop asking that question. I'm going to qualify you based on your experience, your background, your criminal history, and more importantly, Dave, how you interact with me one-on-one when we talk. Are you professional or are you super negative? Like, that's going to really matter. And then I'm going to make your case to any client that you want to work for.
Right.
But yeah, so I want to run the background because I want to know your history along with your work experience and then how you interact with me.
Well, that sounds good, because what's new is, I partnered up with More Staffing, and we're trying to sell this. I posted on LinkedIn today, Second Chance. It's a group. There's 11, I want to say ladies, because they are ladies, that are ready and willing to work. He provides a shuttle bus. So we're trying to sell them and trying to find them a job. And what I like about that is Second Chance is you're still going to run the background. You have to. But I like how you said it. It's not like I wouldn't just put it out there, no background checks. I would word it differently, because you still can't hire anybody that's like in theft, domestic violence, certain things you can't. So instead of going on social media and say, hey, no background check, except as long as you didn't steal something, armor, with a weapon or anything like that. But you're right, that no background, I think it should say background with some limits, like it is.
Well, I think minus your government contracts, you can make somebody's case to any client, to any HR manager, regardless of background. If you can make a strong enough case for that candidate, which means the candidate has to make a strong case for themselves.
Right.
Just like it's no different from any other interview, whether you have a background or not. You're trying to sell yourself, your skills, your experiences, you as a person. And if you do that successfully, then we can do the same thing. We're your advocate. We're going to sell you to the client. And again, minus the certain criteria some government entities require. Outside of that, all it is making your case.
And you've made, you really want to help them, because I've met them. And they made bad choices. It wasn't nothing major, but now they have to live and provide. They have to pay so much, but they have to work in order to stay there. Yeah. So, like you said, you can turn somebody's life around like that. Just because, like, say, if you got caught with some marijuana or you did something bad or drinking, and but I don't know. I like the idea of. I've seen a lot more of second chances, because that's a group of people that people have just tossed.
Well, what's the point of prison reform if you take someone that has a really crazy, rap, right? They got a bad background, they serve their time, and then, I can't hire you because you served time. Like, I thought reform, being in prison, was part of that reform. Like, when do these people get a chance? Like, who's going to give them a chance?
That's right.
If you're just going to ban the box on everything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there was one big corporation here in the Lehigh Valley that opened it up during peak season this year. But what they did was they did the same thing. You had to state what was wrong with what happened. You had to write down certain criteria, what happened, what their steps, just like you said. And then they looked at that on a one-on-one basis. And they did pretty well, because a lot of them, like you said, I mean, you hear it on the phones, but when it's in paper, and look at this person, one mistake, but now they want to work. They want to find that job, because listen, if we're going to pick you up and take you, and then we're going to come back and pick you up and bring you back to the shelter, that's a win-win for everybody. I mean, that's a win for, like you said, I like how you just said it, reform, because this is kind of like reform. They're in a place, they need to live, pay their bill. They have to pay so much to live there too. I think it's a small amount, but that's one of the things I noticed. And
to have your transportation taken care of, I mean, that's incredible. I mean, where are you going to go? Like, you're just going straight to work and back. Like,
that's it.
You get to focus on your work, bring that income in, and make your financial situation much better. That's pretty huge.
Yeah, we're trying to hope. I don't think I told Timothy, they came over to my house yesterday, and I said, I don't think that's going to be a hard sell right now. I said, it depends on how you sell it.
Yeah.
Bring to me, I mean, you have 11 people ready to go to work. I'm ready to do anything in warehousing. That's a win. I'm sorry. And then they might end up being good, because they're going to do double the work to prove to them that they'll get hired on full time.
Yeah.
A lot of employers discriminate. But they won't admit it. And you're right, Tuvia. That's what we were talking about. And it's a hard discussion.
A lot of it's not even about admitting it. I mean, there's always the bad apples. A lot of it's just, unconscious bias, just being naive of you know what discrimination is and what isn't, and really if you're an HR professional, you learn that. I mean, you certify in it. But some average staffing recruiter of a random staffing agency, they don't understand state and federal labor laws, and it's unfortunate. And so, some people discriminate unintentionally, and they don't know it.
Well, I've heard
one thing about the company I work with, Dave. It's like every recruiter goes through state and federal employment law training and gets certified as a CSP, certified staffing professional. That's something I just think is phenomenal.
It is when you put in the training and just teach and educate, as long as educating the customer too, because if you can convince them, and then if I always hear sometimes, well, what happens if they get angry or what happens? And I'm like, what? now that when we have Gail on again, when I'm going to have you on the show with her, she specializes in that. Like she says, like, what does that have to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
So like, even like you need transportation. And I've thought about this a lot. You must have transportation. Why do I need to tell you that? I shouldn't. Some people, the companies require, and I'm like, yeah, but why should I ask you? You don't know what that problem, why they don't have transportation. You don't know that maybe they have one car in a family. You don't. So what does it disqualify you? But there again, I just think it's that unconscious bias.
Oh, I think with the transportation, I've gone back and forth, and because I asked that question for some clients where there's not a bus route to get there, and so for me it's just, hey, I want you to have realistic expectations. Here's where this place is at. There's no bus routes, and your shift is at 6 a.m. Like, can you get there on your own? Whether it's rain, snow, or summertime. Like, are you going to be able to get to work, in with where it's located without a bus? And usually people go, oh yeah, you know what? That's a little too far. My car's not that reliable. What do you have that's closer? So
that's what I said. If you put it to them, you're exactly what I did. You don't have to ask, but you could sit there. I love what you said that, because that's the truth. You'll make that person like, okay, well, you have, like, I have a couple 400 boards up here. I'd be like, well, look what I have here open. You have here. And then they're like, oh yeah, I can do that. You know, I thought about going for that certificate. It's hard.
CSP?
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
You want to know a secret, Dave? When I joined, I had a year to take it, and it was like 10 days left of the year before my credit expired, or I would have had to pay $500. And so I just read the state book and then the federal in a 4-hour period, something you should study over several months.
Right.
And I passed by 1. Like, the passing score was a 78. I got a 79.
That costs some money too for a company. And then, like you said, they wouldn't give it to me because I was great. I was perfect. I didn't need it. He's looking at me like, no, I don't. No, they implanted it into me, man. I don't need that certification because I'll blow it away. I just, I'm Mr. Perfect. I'm just joking.
It's good stuff. It was pretty eye opening.
Yeah, you learn a lot. What can I do with it? And Steve, you'll answer that one.
You can avoid lawsuits from making poor decisions that could hurt you. And it's good for like Dave mentioned, not even the HR managers. They may not be that adept in state and federal law, even though they've gone through the training. They're taking care of COVID, right? And so sometimes you have a client that might ask you to do a certain screening criteria, and you go, whoa, hey, I can't ask someone to do this without first giving them a job offer, right? And so you're able to educate those clients, as well as just simple things in your job ads that, this is terrible, Dave.
Yeah.
So this is in our local job boards in Utah. I saw a company post like, hey, this job is really great for females. Males can do it, but you probably shouldn't apply unless you're a female. And I'm like, oh no.
Oh, there it goes.
You cannot post that, dude. What were you thinking? And so I deleted that and emailed the company and said, here's some advice next time you try to post something like that.
No, I had that up for, I made that mistake Not we were unloading containers, and that is hard work. But then I had two female candidates. They were awesome. They were awesome. And I was like, from that moment on, I never thought, because I knew it was a physical, freezing, cold, hot, but there again, bias. You got that. Why can't somebody do that job? Because what? They're shorter, taller. That's what changed my mind. After I talked to Gail Miller, you're going to have her on here.
Yeah.
And she will change your mind to where you'll walk away like, wow, I need a lot of help.
Yeah.
Because you don't realize how much you are and where it comes to. Because now with COVID, with the candidates, I keep saying is you got to show empathy towards them. Because now, like, with unemployment coming back on, I hear everybody saying, well, they don't have to work or do this or do that. But I'm like, you don't know why they can't work. You don't know if their kids are stuck at home. You don't know. You can't ask for your kids at home. You don't know. Maybe they can't work one shift because, they can't figure out car arrangements.
Right. Or they got virtual Friday like I have here with my son. Like if I wasn't in the position where I was at, like I would have been SOL.
Yeah. Here's one for us, Steve.
What do you like, a SHRM? That's like the master's degree of the CSP, Tubia. That's the pinnacle. That's your doctorate.
Oh, is that that's all the way up there? I don't know much about that.
Yeah, it's quite the certification. It's like a 7-hour test. Yeah, and a year of study. So they're all HR managers, go and get that certification, or at least they should.
They should, yeah, because that's what before I left, they didn't give it to me because they knew I was busy during peak, and I realized they said it's a lot of hours and all the books that came with it, and you had to do it because you were in corporate. They were going to pay for that. You better do it, versus me paying for it and then just having somebody else do it. You know, but no, I wouldn't say that. God, it's funny. But you said one more thing before we go.
One more thing. We just got started, Dave.
All right, but all right, then let me go back to the subject that I wanted to do. All right. Here we go. Change. When you walk in, you're a new manager, you've been promoted, or you're coming from another site, you got hired on BP, anything. You're going into a branch or anywhere. You're going into a new company. I wanted to talk about that I had run into through staffing and what I learned is if I had to do it again was to take baby steps. When I say that, little things at a time, because this guy came in here guns blowing. No, I don't want to say that, but just coming in with, this is my way. This is what we're going to do. Boom, boom, boom. And I wasn't that bad, but you need to listen.
Yeah.
You know, and I look now and it's been 9 months and they're all gone. Everybody that I knew that was there, they're gone.
Dave, that's the biggest mistake is when a leader comes into a new branch or new region.
He got fired. Yes.
Well, I mean, think about it. People, a good leader versus a bad leader, they confuse they confuse themselves. They think they have to like giving direction and, showing that you're knowledgeable and that you have a plan for everybody. Like going in like that, you think, oh, I'm a good leader because I'm showing everyone my plan. I'm giving direction. Right. I'm giving everyone their marching orders, but that doesn't make you a good leader. What makes you a good leader is finding out what your team is doing, what they're passionate about, what they've been seeing the last 2 or 3 years, good, bad, or indifferent. What kind of change? Asking the questions like, what kind of change do they want? Not what you want. And unfortunately, too many leaders just think, oh, I've got the plan, so I'm going to go in and execute without running it by their team, not getting the plan from their team, getting their buy-in, and
you lose the good people.
You lose the good people because you invalidate them. They don't feel like they have a voice. People have to.
I'm just glad he got fired. I text him. I congratulated him.
It's one of those. Sometimes you want to learn by other people's examples, and sometimes you learn the hard way.
I compare it to like Gordon Ramsay shows, because if you think about it, what's the purpose of the show just hire new staff? He goes in and they take that same team. majority of the time, only once in a while they'll have to tell someone to go.
Yeah.
But think about it. They retrained everybody.
Yeah.
Not the way he yells, but think about it. With the restaurants and all those shows, they just showed, they teach, they taught, and then he would break down, breathe, and listen.
Right.
And then they were successful.
Yep.
But you don't know the long run, if you were consulting or something. But the point I wanted to bring up is that because I see some of the companies, when I look over, I'm like, wow, they're not there no more. They were the best. I'm like, what in the hell happened? But that's the kind of things that happen with leadership. And it's changed it's changed me now.
Does it?
It does, because I wouldn't go in there gunslinger. I think you got to breathe, see the process. You're going to make some changes, but then you're going to explain why, and if you have pushback, well, then you got to teach, just like Andre said, you got to set those boundaries and just what you want to do and how you want to try to get them, get them to listen and feel good about themselves.
Well, I think, as I moved up throughout my career, I sometimes I would be pretty detached from the front lines, and I always pride myself in being being on the front lines, shoulder to shoulder. Yeah. And it's interesting when you look at your teams, you see a trend. When a new leader comes in, either all of the bad people leave, right? Yeah. Or all of the good people leave. So that's how you know if you've got a good leader is who's leaving. Is it the good people or the bad people?
Yep, it's built up small, coming out with a splash. Then he's right, and that's the exact thing, because I think when I'm joking, but I'm not. I'm glad he got fired, but because he came in there and he was just too. It's like, whoa, we are doing so good, and then I seen what he was doing to my employees, my recruiters. I'm like, whoa, and I had to. There's where that comes down to, as the branch manager and you're the market manager, then the new guys coming in and you're like, whoa. Yeah. You don't know why this person needs to come in maybe 5 minutes late.
Exactly.
But you don't know why. You don't know. You can't assume that everybody is, you're not making your numbers. Well, I've learned this is the biggest thing. Are you ready?
Ready.
Grand roll. Can you give me an example what I need to do? Can you explain to me how? Because my wife taught me that. It's kind of coming back with that question of like, all right, you're telling me to do this, you're on my back, and when the numbers aren't there, could you help me? Could you guide me? What do I need to do to make it work? If you're honest with the person, because a lot of people aren't honest. They don't want to lose their job. I've seen them stressed. They walk out, they're stressed. I've seen them cry, and that's when because of staffing and the high volume, you know it yourself. It's just going strong, and I see it in their faces, and I can tell when I've come off too strong. Yeah, and I would back off just to give that a little bit, because I didn't want to lose anybody, because they were good people.
It's like a rubber band, Dave. I showed you this before. I don't have it with me, but you can stretch an employee so far. And there's a lot of tension, but the rubber band doesn't break. It goes back to its form. But if you pull too far, too fast, you're going to snap that rubber band.
Well, my boss that made me successful, Catherine, she when she had left, that's when all the problems started. She said, Dave, you watch. If you come back in here from a year now or 2 years from now, and it's the same problems they're having and the same issues, they didn't want to change. Yeah. It's the same stuff. Let's fight it. Let's just friggin' send 25 people. Who cares who they are? You didn't care. Fill the body, send them out, push them. Hallelujah. And, I don't know. You need to change and really, as a leader again, focus on your employees. And I think that will make the difference big time going forward now, especially if they're working from home. I have not done that yet, so I don't have to worry about, like, when the interns are working, I can say, hey, provide me what you did. Yeah. But some recruiters could be sitting at home, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then I don't know how people address all that now.
You got to use software to just manage their keystrokes.
Well, that's what I mean, and I think that's got to be tough, people think it's easy working at home. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's not. You miss that. So, I got my fish to talk to. No, I seriously. I mean, I had to go run out and test the water today. I had to take. I'm thinking. I was working today. It's Sunday. I took some water to go back and they test it, and so I can get back here and get to work.
Well, we're social creatures, and you can't take that out of people. And if you're stuck in a house all day and you don't have anyone to talk to, it affects people's performance. It affects their morale. And
hey, before we go, how's COVID going out in Utah now? What is it? The new strain, or is it affecting anybody? Or
the new strain looks like has hit Colorado, which is real close to Utah, and a lot of commerce between Colorado and Utah. So it's a matter of days or weeks before the new strain hits here, unfortunately. And so there's a big scare behind that. A lot of people are worried. We're looking at the spikes. We're looking at the predictive spikes for the month of January based on holidays, right? Families getting together and congregating, and we're not there yet. The really high spikes we thought we would see, but it's close. It's there. We're getting some pretty dangerous spikes, and absenteeism across the board is really high. It's affecting.
Hey, Tuvia, Vikram Seth, the CEO of Ducking, he's got COVID.
Sorry, Vic. Hope you get better soon, man.
Yeah, he said he's doing a little bit better. He's
speaking of Vic, Ducking.
Yeah.
Back to that talking about people with challenging criminal backgrounds. Out of all the candidates that you tried to make their case for to your client companies,
right?
I think a video resume would be right up there for a candidate with a challenging background, because they can see the person, and really connect with them. It's easier to connect with someone that way than looking at their piece of paper and going, "Oh, here's the challenging background. I'm just not going to consider them."
Right, and you're exactly right, because there again, you get to see the person and not assume. But yet, when somebody's talking, I think you can really tell. I mean, that's what you're there for. You're a hiring manager, or you're recruiter. You have to make that judgment. What do you think will fit for the company? And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to with more staffing to figure out how to sell it. I just don't want to go around saying, "Hey, second chance." No, you need to really educate the benefits of it. And with the shuttle bus that he has, why would you take that's like an account an hour away with a shuttle bus for 10 employees when you could find it within 20-mile radius in the Lehigh Valley? But I think that's what you need to. It's try to how to sell it. The wording is a lot to it, just like you said. The correct words and the value that it's going to show the client. Retention. I've taken my 2 days thinking of a person, whether it would be a fit or not.
Well, look how far we've come though, as like a industry, and where our clients were before COVID and where they are now. Right. Things that they always said no, they would not take this type of candidate. Well, when you have nobody and you have a 20% absenteeism in your workforce, you can't get anything out the door. You start questioning your norms of the things I always said no, we wouldn't accept. We go, wait, what was that again? What, how would this work? And it's been very eye-opening and incredible for the job applicants that were always a no, that all of a sudden become a yes. And then, that stigma has completely been erased, and a whole new workforce has come out of this.
Well, look at me with Tuvia. Would I have ever thought that those direct hire fees, referral base, that would work? To where I offer a forklift driver for $175, warehouse worker $75. We vet them, we send them to you, put it on a Google Doc.
Stop doing that, Dave. You're killing the market for the rest of us, man.
No, but and then cha-ching, as he says, but then it's like, wow. And I'm getting ready for Chet Pallet. I don't care if I say their name. Jim, he's a great guy. He hired me 11 years ago.
Nice.
And he was going to HR, and he's like, listen, the norm is not working. Why don't we give this guy a chance? He's blue collar. I'm like, oh, thanks. You're blue collar. And he says, let's try it. They're full-time employees. What do you got to lose? But people, four staffing agencies. And I'm going to say, listen, once they start, there's no guarantee. You're hiring them. I'm only sending if I feel, and I don't send anybody that I try to figure I wouldn't hire myself, because for me to do that, the integrity of it's just going to go away.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, oh, Dave's just going to send you anybody. Oh, he's got 1 year forklift. We said 5. That's my black cat. Thing drives me crazy.
I can hear him.
Yes. Another story with that thing. But think about that. That is a new norm. I mean, it's just out of the box. I hate that saying, but it works. Do I want to continue to do it? No, when you pick up some clients, but it is a way for somebody that is struggling for just to get the candidates in to help them.
Yeah.
So if I can bill it to pay for the expenses in the office, that's good enough for me, because I don't make any money off it. But I don't want to sit here all day and just, okay, you'll be where you go here. Okay. I mean, I'm like, but it's just new ideas. And like you said, how do you cope with it? Yep. Because I always say, if they don't want to get on and do a video resume, if the clients mandate it, you have to do it. Well, I'm not doing it. Well, then you're not going to get your job.
No, nobody wants to do it, but that's what sets you apart as a candidate, because nobody wants to do it. So if you do it, you're part of the small group of individuals that have done it, and puts you on top.
I had like an 80% success rate pre-COVID with getting people the interviews with the video resume.
Wow.
Pre-COVID, but they were coming in, and I would really find some. Now, I will say this, there's different types of jobs in IT. So Simpom Vic had given me some jobs for IT. Don't even know anything about it. I saw the job description. I have no clue, right? So, but if I could find somebody, but with those keywords of videos, he only put 2 questions, no think time. And if you didn't know those 2 questions, you weren't trying. I didn't even know what the salary. But you should have seen 24 candidates in one day did the video screening. One day. I didn't even talk to them.
Woo.
I posted it, but they must know, because it was, even though it was in Louisiana and it was for remote. So they must be like, wow. But think about it. 2 questions. The thing lit up. I was like, Vic, I wish everybody was like that. I mean, IT techs, but I didn't think there was that many. Maybe they're just like wanting to leave a job, or working at home would work for them. But boom, like that.
It's amazing.
And it works.
Yeah, I mean, and that must be commonplace in the IT world.
I wish everybody would. I could retire, not retire, if I could make some money. I'm like, come on, I want to make some money and get those direct hires in, because the benefits, I'm going to go back to what you said, and that's a good idea for myself, to talk with more staffing. I'm always thinking, I'm going to give you this one.
All right.
I'm going to ask him about why don't we do 8 video resume or the 11 of them video resume screening.
Yeah.
And then sell that as to the company. Say, hey, listen, let me send them to your email. Let me send these people to your email. 11 emails. You watch them. There you go.
There you go.
And that, see, I'll give you that one, Mr. Utah. But, well, we are 40 minutes. Holy crap. I think everybody left, but some people still watch. I see everybody over here still watching. But I want to thank everybody.
It's all on the replay, Dave. All on the replay.
All on the replay.
I don't always catch your show. I mean, sometimes the kids are screaming and I got to get them to bed, and then I watch the replay.
I have a person that always says, Dave, can you keep it to 5 minutes? I'm like, no, man, no. I want this thing to keep going and going. But sometimes you start talking, and I didn't realize it was 48 minutes. And you're doing it live. So, I mean, when you're doing it live, that's why I tell people, step outside, try something different, go to a video screening, email, call people that you've never done before to find a job, pick up the phone, call the person themselves.
Oh, Dave, that reminds me.
What?
You sharing that advice. So we had Heidi on the show a few days ago from one of my offices. You remember her?
Yeah.
So she took your advice of going back into Facebook Messenger to all the people that applied for prior jobs, and she messaged them saying, "Hey, I know it's been a while. We've got some we got some new openings. Are you open to new opportunities?" And she got a ton of interested candidates that have come and interviewed.
Yeah, because a lot of people
engaging with old candidates in Facebook Messenger that have applied to your jobs on Facebook.
Yeah, you can go back to as far as sometimes 3 years if it just keeps scrolling. And like I said, it says unattached. That means I think they've changed some. Oh, look at Bill. You are more interesting than my Steelers tonight. Oh, don't tell me. Or I haven't even been over to the house. Are they losing?
You know what, Bill? Anybody's more interesting than the Steelers. I hate to break it to you.
Wait a minute, though. But that means I know when we get done here, I'm going to go over there. She's going to say they're losing. I know it. And if they lose,
that's inevitable. That's inevitable. Just accept it.
Oh, yes. Oh, he still said that. But Steve, I want to thank you again tonight. All the way from Utah. I don't know where you are or what that is. For anybody out there that knows that state, they have cows. That's about it.
We have cows. Yes, we do.
But seriously, what do you have out there?
Utah's home of
did Ben get taken out? I'll start talking about football here. Holy crap. All right.
Utah Jazz. That's what Utah's known for. That and polygamy,
Oh, you can have like 4 wives?
Yeah, that Utah was settled by the Mormons, the LDS church, when they did polygamy. So that's probably most people know Utah for is polygamy. It's not a big thing anymore in this. I
didn't know now until now, so I'm just going to say polygamy. Utah, yeah, polygamy. Thanks a lot on that advice, but thanks a lot, Steve, and we're going to talk after a minute here. Thanks, everybody. 30. My wife has got to be over there pulling her hair out. Oh my God, they're never going to come back from that. What the hell's happening? On that note, Steve, thank you so much. Thanks, Bill, for always coming in. We are going to end it.
Thanks, everybody.
Where we started, and we'll talk to you soon, Steve.